Alright guys, making a small video tonight. It's Friday night. I got home from work. I cleaned up my work area. This video is more about kind of how I do things, how I work. Kind of share how I do things with you guys. You guys can share what your rituals are pre-work. Usually what I like to do is I like to clean my work area. This car's been sitting for probably since late February was the last time I took it out. It was a really nice day. Then I sold the engine. So as I work with the garage door open from time to time, stuff pulls in and I just kind of boom around the car. So I had to clean up. And I made sure that the exhaust, the drive shaft, all that stuff underneath the car was out of my way. What I'm going to be doing this weekend is mainly my brake system. I'm going to be going over to manual brakes. So what I did was obviously I cleaned up, organized my stuff. I've been working on the small block Ford over here during the weekdays, and on the weekends I'm going to be hitting the olds Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as we are trying to get the car out for the September BOP race at Byron Dragway. So today I decided to clean up, get all my stuff ready. I brought some tools home from work, mainly lights. You can never have enough lighting. As you can tell, my garage is pretty bright. One of the things that helps is keep your area clean. Usually before I work, I clean. I like bright workspace. You can never have enough light. Again, never have enough light. So I'll show you guys some of the parts that I got that I'm putting on. We went with the Moog. I think it's like the 4230 springs, I want to say, or 4240. They're from a, typically guys would call this the 6-cylinder Tempest springs. They were also found in inline 6 cutlasses. They're tall, they store energy, they're perfect for drag racing, and they won't sag like some of the other brands that offer some of these taller springs that store energy that are more, you want them for launching. You want to put that front end weight in the back. So also I got the correct 1-inch bore master cylinder from Dorman. It's not exactly correct, it's a little different, but it is a 1-inch bore to correct size fittings. We are doing a taller ball joint from Pro Forge. It's about 1 inch taller. It's going to allow us a little bit more front end travel. Last fall we had some suspension issues, and I'd rather have a little bit more travel and dial in than not have enough and have to dial up. At that point it'd be harder to do. Once the ball joints are in place, I can set a stopper and adjust the amount of rate of lift at the front end, which makes this part ideal. A lot of guys also use spacers, which is not really a good idea, but there's a lot of benefits to the taller ball joints. For drag racing, you get more travel. There's more for like pro touring road racing. And then of course I got the correct derby hat style push rod assembly from Inline Tube for the manual master cylinder. Since we are going from power drum brakes to manual drum brakes, you do need the correct rod, you do need the right ratio. You could get an adjustable one, but the adjustable one is 15 bucks. It requires work. This is 50 bucks and it's exactly a stock. So another reason why I was making this video is I had guys tell me, well, you can always do your brakes after you get the engine. The engine's been built for, I got it done probably back in February. I fired it up in April, end of April. And of course people were telling me, you stick that thing in, hit the track. Me, I like to take my time. I don't like to rush things. I like to plan things out. I do not like to work under the gun. That's my 9 to 5. I work on deadlines, I work on schedules. You know, we're always putting fires out. That's life in the shop. But at home, I take my time, I plan it out. If I'm frustrated, I walk away. So the main reason why I'm doing all this before I put the engine in is because, guess what? You crawl in here, you can stand inside the engine bay. You can do all this work versus leaning over the fenders. I've worked long enough in the car industry to have a bad back. One thing to make sure is work smart, not hard. So if you got obstacles, when can you optimize your work time? So I got an engine out, I put it off because other things came up. We've been working on the Pontiac, we did the EFI, I've been working on my boss's Chevelle, I've been doing stuff. So finally, I waited time came around, we're in July, and hit this up hard, right? So before I put the engine in, which I'm planning for August, jump in here. I got a ton of room. With the engine out, I was actually able to kind of rebend some of my brake lines without taking them off, which made it easy, because that's one of the things that bugged me. When I did this car 10 years ago, I didn't do the best job of bending my brake lines. So now that everything's in place, I was able to bend them up a little bit. I got some brackets, the correct brackets for the brake lines. I'm gonna put them in place. And I saved a bunch of work because I have the engine out. I didn't have to work around the headers. I didn't have to work around the starter. I didn't have to work around the oil pan. Everything is there. It makes it so much easier. So for you guys out there working at home, you gotta kind of work around your obstacles. So whenever you have something out, the other thing to think about is, what else can I do while this is out? Because you gotta take advantage of your you gotta take advantage of whatever obstacles out of the way. That whole thing about working smart, not hard. So for me, we got the engine out. We're gonna put in the manual master cylinder. We're gonna go ahead and do that tomorrow. Hopefully I should be able to get it done. I'm gonna need some new lines from the distribution block to the master, but that's no big deal. Go to Farm and Fleet and buy them. But besides that, it should be pretty straightforward. But of course, give yourself enough time. This is my one project for the week, just to go to manual brakes. Some guys would want to shoot high and probably take care of the springs and the ball joints. I could do all that, but then again, you start to rush yourself and you start to run into issues. You know, as far as like thinking about, like, let's say you're putting in a new engine and you want to get it going right that night. You button up your hoses and everything, and you forget a hose clamp. It might not be an issue right away, but down the road, you blow a hose off, it'll be an issue. So always take your time, always double check. I guess don't be like a hero to yourself. Don't rush it. You know, I always take my time. If I gotta put it off, I'll put it off. It pays off in spades. So guys, thank you for watching. I will update you guys on Sunday what we got done, what we actually accomplished versus what we had planned. Hopefully it works out, and if not, well then, you know what, we'll take care of it next weekend. We still got some time before that self-made August deadline. I'd like to have the engine in first weekend of August. So guys, stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Copper's Garage. Subscribe on YouTube, Copper Cutlass. Thank you.